Jen Mall, and welcome to Nurse Connect. I am an RN and a board certified nurse coach. I believe that connecting with others is essential to living a happy and fulfilled life, and that sharing our stories not only helps us to heal ourselves, but also helps others by inspiring hope and optimism. I am so grateful to share stories of these incredible nurses on their journey, and I encourage you to find a way to share yours too. Thanks for listening in. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Nurse Connect podcast. I'm Jen Mall, and I'm here with Teresa. Super excited to have you on today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would love for you to kind of take us back to the beginning. How did you become a nurse? What has been your journey thus far? We'd love to get to know you a little bit better.
So I decided I wanted to be a nurse when I was 7.
Oh, wow.
Because I was walking home from school and a little boy pushed me down and skinned my knee. And we had block moms back then. And she ran out and picked me up and brought me in the house and washed my knee off. And she goes, "Would it be okay if my daughter put the Band-Aid on because she wants to be a nurse?" And I was like, "Oh, I want to be a nurse." And she was a couple of years older than me. And so that was the first time I knew.
Wow.
And I've been taking care of people really from as long as I could remember, even back when I was 4 and 5 years old. I wanted to change my brother's diaper. I used to go sit with the baby across the street while his mom worked in the yard. How many people trust their 5-year-old? I don't know. I thought that was more
very responsible.
Yeah. And then the second time I wanted to be a nurse was I was 18. I was in the hospital. I had a tumor on my ovary and I was 4 months pregnant.
Oh, wow.
And I ended up alone in that hospital room. And I was like, what is happening? You know? And a nurse came in and I don't remember her face. I remember her badge that said BSN RN. And I thought, I want to be that. Because what she did for me was, I can see you're struggling. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go finish what I have to do, and then I'm going to come sit with you. You don't have to talk to me, but I'll be here if you do. And about 10 or 15 minutes later, she came in, and I was like, I don't know what to say to her. So I turned my back, and she sat down, and I felt the most love I'd ever felt in my life. And I fell asleep. I don't even remember when she left. I don't remember her face. Someone recently said, that wasn't a nurse, that was an angel.
Wow.
And I thought, okay, I'm going to be a nurse. Well, of course, now I have a baby, right? And so about 6 years later, now I have 2.
Wow.
And I'm sitting outside. I worked for the Idaho State Tax Commission and income tax audit. So I was doing a lot of paperwork. And my friend was sitting at lunch with me. She goes, "So Teresa, what do you want to be when you grow up?" Well, I'm 24, so I'm kind of feeling like I'm growing up. And I said, I'm going to be a nurse. And she goes, "Oh, so when are you going to start that?" And I went, yeah, when am I going to start that? About 2 hours later, my sister called and she's going, "Can you watch Holly so I can go sign up for nursing school?" I said, "Nope, I'm going with you."
Oh my gosh.
So I did. I started nursing school with my sister. Don't take chemistry as your first class.
Oh, yeah. I think I held that off till the end, and it was miserable then too.
Yeah. I took psychology and chemistry, my very first classes. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. My sister was taking it. So I was like, okay. I did well. And 6 years later, I graduated.
Oh my gosh.
And the last reason I know that I'm supposed to be a nurse is in my senior year, I had taken summer school, but I didn't know that you only had so much money to borrow in a year. No one had said anything. Okay. So I came up about $6,000 short for my senior year. And I was like, oh my goodness, how can I not finish school?
Yeah.
And so happened I was in a program for single moms because by then I was divorced. And she said, "You need to go to this building down on campus and talk to this lady." Because when I got the letter, I'm just crying.
Yeah.
what am I going to do? And she sent me to this lady, and I walked in the door, and she goes, "Are you Teresa?" And I said, "Yes." And she goes, "I have a file on you, and I have no idea why I have a file on you." And she said, "And it's complete."
Oh my gosh.
I went, "What?" And she goes, "Just a minute." And I'm like, in my mind, I'm standing there thinking, what in the world is happening?
Yeah.
She came back out. She gave me a voucher for my books, a voucher for my tuition,
Oh,
and paid daycare, and would have paid for some housing. And I got $10 a week for gas.
that's incredible.
I know. I was like, I'm supposed to be a nurse.
Yes. Yes.
And so then life went on. There was just that knowing, like, that's what
Yeah.
I'm supposed to do, right?
Uh,
And then, I worked. I loved it. I absolutely loved nursing. I worked ICU and rehab, and
mhm.
I opened a geriatric psych unit
Wow.
and did some pediatric home health, which I didn't think I would like as much as I did.
Uh-huh.
And then I worked post anesthesia recovery for many
Wow.
years because that
Uh-huh.
was like the mix of everything that I
Yes.
liked to do. And then in 2015, life had gotten a little hard,
Mhm.
and kids had been growing up, and one daughter had to go to some rehab to get a little
Mm.
addiction problem taken care of,
Mhm.
which, by the way, she's doing beautifully.
Good. Thank you.
Never, never had like, literally from the day she left, no problems. I was like, wow, people are so resilient.
Yes.
And husband retired, and it just felt like I was the one that had to take care of all that. I needed to
Mm.
hold up all those pieces and do all
Mhm.
the things, and it got harder at work because I think nursing
Mhm.
got harder
Mhm.
over time. And I wanted to quit, honestly.
Mm.
I wanted to quit nursing. I woke up on that Thursday. We were having a conference on Friday about why aren't we more resilient, was the name of the conference for healthcare providers. Why aren't we more resilient? Well, who needed that more than me at that moment? You
Mhm.
know, I'd had chronic pain for about 5 years, and I was just like, I'm just tired.
Mhm.
I'm just tired. Life is hard. Everybody seems to be having problems that I can't help with.
Right.
And my health was breaking down, and I knew it. So I
Yeah.
was going to doctors and doing things. And it was October 10th of 2015. And he was talking about how the mind works, not like how we think it works, but
Mhm.
the fact that we think,
Mhm.
the powers that we are gifted, mind, consciousness, and thought,
Mhm.
formless powers that make everything we see in this world come alive.
Right.
And I was like, that's not the first time I heard that. Not even close. I've been studying holistic modalities for over 20 years.
Mm.
I was a connoisseur of many. You know, I was looking for healing, and
Mhm.
I knew I hadn't found it yet. Um, Even in my faith, I was struggling
Mhm.
with that. And he started talking about a perspective of human psychology that isn't known. Like, it
Mhm.
comes from the formless way that the world works. What
Mhm.
informs this world?
Right.
And I heard something when he went to separate realities about how no two people could ever have the same thought or the same experience, even in the same circumstance.
Yeah. Incredible.
And there was much talking around that for probably 15 or 20 minutes. And
Mhm.
all of a sudden I thought, that's it. That solves my goal that I wrote 20 years ago of how to find something to help people in the middle of the night when no one's around.
Mm.
It is your thoughts.
Mhm.
That's what spurs us to go to the ER or lets us settle down to figure out the next right thing. But it wasn't a belief, it was a fact that that's
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
And the insight, you always we have these insights that just kind of we feel them in our whole body, right?
Mm-hmm.
And went down my back like a lightning bolt. I mean, it was like, ooh, out my hands and feet, and the pain literally disappeared.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
And I thought, I
Wow.
kept looking around the room thinking, does anybody else see this? Is this just me?
Yeah.
And I can't say I listened. I listened, but I didn't
Yeah.
really hear the rest of it because I knew that I knew that I knew.
Yeah.
And I went, this is going to be incredible. I
Yeah.
have to share this with people. People have to know that it's totally possible in any circumstance to heal.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't mean like no, like circumstances go away or we never experience another illness, or
Right.
it's not about that. It's about your relationship to yourself when those things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the response ability to handle anything.
Yeah.
And that's resilience. It appears
Yeah.
every time we take a step.
So help me understand how to make this a little more tangible. Because I get it. Like I know my thoughts control my reality, but how do you take those tangible steps to work through that, I guess?
So I created a care plan. Um, so I'll give you a little example of like a little hand thing. So
Mm-hmm.
say this is mind, consciousness, and thought. This
Okay.
is the formless energy of everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's what we've all used our whole entire life from the beginning of man.
Mm-hmm.
And this is us. And we're over here with our little thoughts, doing our thing, making sense out of life,
Mm-hmm.
not knowing most of the time that we're connected
Mm.
to the formless energy at all times.
Mm-hmm.
And so because this, calling this a thought bridge,
Okay.
informs this over here, when we come from that place, we call it ease. Like we
Mm.
just know what to do. We know how to
Yes.
do it. Life makes sense.
Flows. Yeah.
And then we go, ha, I got it. And we take our little thought bridge and take it over here and we try to figure it out by ourselves. And so we start going down rabbit holes. This thought,
Mm-hmm.
job, relationships, kids, school. And we're trying to figure out all our problems by ourselves
Right.
and we suffer.
Yes.
And this is where most of us are because we don't know that this is true.
Right.
And so one of the ways to talk about that is to say, what is a topic that you're struggling with? What is something that you would like clarity on or you need to make a decision about?
Mm-hmm.
If you know you always have access to wisdom, we'll call this wisdom,
Yeah.
how fast can your answers come to you?
Immediately, if you let it.
And then what do we do?
Then we
I
overthink
got it.
it.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And so the next question you ask yourself is, where do you think your experience is coming from? Is it coming from over here,
Mm.
or is it coming from personal mind knowledge? Is it coming over here,
Mm.
solving your problems from the information you already know? And the next question you ask, how does knowing that you're always connected help you in any moment?
Mm.
And it's an internal loop, an internal guide that says, I know I don't have the answer, but I know it's here somewhere.
Mm.
And we get when all of these little things start going and we go back here, when do those answers come? In the shower,
Yeah.
driving down the road, you go take a nap and you wake up and you're like, ah, that's what it is.
Yes.
That's the self-care plan.
Oh, that's fascinating.
That's how we can know what the next right step is.
Mm.
And we don't have to go somewhere, we don't have to have a massage for an hour, which I love. But in the midst of chaos, we don't often have time for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think knowing that when I'm off track, out of kilter, not feeling myself, I know I've taken my reins and I'm thinking I'm going to figure it out. Effort, striving, confusion, procrastination lives over here.
Yes.
All the things that we have names for are coming from thought we've already thought. And it completely shifts our attention and our ability to navigate when we know, oh, it's my use of these principles personally that gives me my experience, and I can change my mind.
I love that.
And I thought, it cannot be that easy. It certainly cannot be that easy. But I have found over the last 7 years that it is. It is that easy. But the second we see it, because I'm sure you've had a couple of times where you saw it as I was talking about it, and then you tried to figure it out. Like, how does that work? And then like, I don't think I get it. It's in the simplicity that allows us to quiet our mind, to come into this place where health, healing, connection, love, that's where it lives. And it's our ego that gets in our way.
Yeah, I was almost thinking that it's almost too easy. And so you try and justify that away a little bit. Like I could see myself thinking that, like, it can't be that easy. Because I've had moments where it has been that easy and that feels good. But then I think, well, what's wrong? Why? And then you almost like self-sabotage.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Well, and that's your ego at play in your life. Because what is the ego? Status quo. The keeper of all your memories from until this moment. And we put a lot of stock in it because it keeps us safe, even if it's not true.
Yeah. But it also keeps you stifled and unfulfilled and unhappy. And wow.
Yeah. It's fascinating to, it's not a 1-minute conversation, but we've done pretty good in a short period of time to sort of describe it, to get a taste, to say, listen, there's something else happening out here.
Yeah.
And nurse coaches have it in spades.
I
Because
know.
we see it. We see it.
Yeah.
We've been at the bedside. We've watched the human condition. We see people being resilient in the face of things that we couldn't even imagine. How did they do that? It was their power. They used that insight, that intuitive ability, informed knowing, like there's something more happening here. And I think you can count on it. I know you can count on it at every single moment. And my dad taught me that when he was dying. He died of lung cancer at 49. And the night before he died, he said, I have something I want to tell you, and I want you to listen. I was like, I'm 21. I don't know. I listened as good as I could. He said, I had a conversation with God last night. And I was like, well, how'd you do that? He said, I was praying. I was reading my Bible. And in my mind, I was asking questions about what's happening with him. And he said, so the question was in his thoughts. He said, but the next thought was the answer. And I knew it was the answer. How many people, though, have we known who, close to dying, no matter what that process is, come up and say things like that all the time? I think they know things at that point that we don't. but sometimes we don't have the ears to hear it.
Right.
So I was 21. I was 40 before I really heard the gravity of what he said. Because he said, I've made my plans for living and I've made my plans for dying, and I'm good with either one.
Oh.
And I didn't realize how healing that would be for me as time went on. But I also didn't grieve like I thought I would, which is really interesting. Like his truth helped me not miss him as much as I thought I would.
Oh, what a
Thought
beautiful
that was
gift.
yeah, it was huge. It was huge.
Yeah.
And that was just one little thing that he talked about, you know.
Oh.
So I'm sure you've experienced taking care of people, especially people who've been through things. It's important to listen, to not just listen to their stories, but hear the meaning of those stories. And
Absolutely.
that's been the best part of nursing ever, is that I get to see that side of life and help in whatever capacity that I'm there for.
Yeah.
So
Oh, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
that's been my life. And now we at that conference, I decided I'm going to be a nurse coach because that seems like the perfect thing to do, right? So I signed up for my program in January. I took Wisdom of the Whole, amazing people. And about 4 months into that, we started recording the videos for our program.
Oh, wow.
We want to bring this knowledge of these 3 principles to the healthcare profession, because it creates this, I can't even think of a word for it, this space for us to play, to embrace, to see the beauty of life.
Yeah.
To, stop being so hard on ourselves and begin to really see what we're here for. What are we really here for? Especially as nurses or healthcare providers, it's not for a system, it's for a human being. It's human to human care.
Yeah.
When you know how you work psychologically, that directly affects your physiology, you come from a different place.
Yeah. And I think, when you ask why we're here, I think most nurses got into nursing for that connection, for that helping, healing others. What ends up happening, right, is a lot of that tasky stuff of taking care of the physical body, but not the mental, emotional, spiritual selves. And you're helping, as I'm kind of exploring this a little more, like helping round that out and bringing people back to why they want to help others. But we have to take care of ourselves first to be able to truly do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we don't take care of ourselves, where are we going to be?
Yeah. Well, we know where we're going to be.
I know. Yeah, we do.
As a collective of nurses, we are really struggling, right? Of course, there are some of us that are doing the work and are helping others do that. But as a whole, we're really seeing our profession struggling. We are very burned out. We are leaving the profession. We are not just leaving a job, but the whole career as a nurse, your whole that it's awful to bear witness to. But I hope that we're also starting to see the turn of, like we talked about off camera, about like helping the younger nurses even are helping our older generation of nurses to see that it is okay to balance the career and the self and your family and all those things. It's critical. We have to do that. We cannot continue in the same path that we've been on.
No, it's the natural evolution of realizations, of insights, if you will. Like what we've been doing isn't working. It hasn't worked in a very, very long time. Thank goodness people are waking up and saying, no, I want to take care of my children. I want to take care of my health. I love being a nurse. I want to do it all.
Yes.
we can't ignore any longer the way things have been. This is a new day. That old stuff is gone. If we would just let it die an easy death and say, you know what, we can't go back. We're not going to go back. What can we do today to help each other to notice? We notice in our patients. Let's notice in each other when we're struggling and give someone a hand.
Yeah.
And that's what I think coaching is about. It's most all of us, everyone I've talked to feels like no one hears them. Right? I keep talking, but nobody's listening.
Yeah.
Well, we have a really big dialogue going on inside of us that we don't share with anyone. Yeah. We even try to solve all our problems from there that don't quite reach the world of form, but it's there. Yeah. And I think that's what nurse coaches are starting to do. We're bringing that out to be seen, for us to touch and feel and experience, knowing exactly where we're coming from. In, like in my care plan, what is your topic of the day? It doesn't have to be something to fix. It could just be, what can I do to take care of myself? And listening to your body. It gives us love letters all the time. And what do we do with them?
Well, most of the time we ignore it.
Yeah, it'll go away. It'll be okay. Yeah. Well, and then one day we wake up and we're like, all right, what happened?
Yeah.
Let's don't do that anymore. Let's be the voice of truth, really. Like, we're not just here to take care of people. We're here to share love and wisdom, understanding, embracing humanity. And we can't do that all by ourselves.
Well, and it really does start with doing all that for yourself first.
Yes,
once you can fill yourself up, then you can do all of those things for other people. But you as much as we try, I mean, really, we drain ourselves, right? Trying to give everything to everybody else. But until you've learned those, unfortunately, those hard lessons sometimes, to give yourself that love and listen to your body and take care and give yourself what you need, then you can turn around and truly love doing that for other people.
Yeah. My first exposure to that was Dr. John Sarno.
I recognize the name. Yeah.
He was a functional medicine doctor who was working with back pain, did surgeries and stuff early on. And he realized that the surgeries weren't working. And he's like, something else is happening here. And he started talking to people about their mental health. And his whole idea was that when you have mental stress, it's shunted to your body and you feel it as physical pain to distract you from the mental pain. And I was like, I believe that. I feel that. I know that's true. And he started talking to people and they started getting better. And he said only about 15% of people would even willingly listen to him. And of those 15%, 90% would get better. I might have my statistics off just a little bit.
Still.
That's still, only 15% is not a very big amount, but for those people, it's kind of like the starfish, makes a difference for this person, And so I thought, I had read that book and I was like, I know that's what this is, this chronic pain. I didn't know how to tap into that. So that's, I think, when I heard, oh my goodness, there's actually principles in this world right now working with us. We're using them right now. And it makes a difference if you know it or not.
Right.
And that's one of the places I think we keep trying to get to in a lot of different ways. This is the most simplistic way I have ever heard of. There's people in 63 countries right now teaching this, and we're teaching it for nursing.
Very cool. Very
So
cool.
it's very cool.
And so you help train nurses who are interested in being nurse coaches, which I'm a nurse
Yep.
coach also into a different program, but it's,
Yeah.
I do truly feel, and my friend just said this recently, that nurse coaches are going to change the world.
Yep.
And that's a bold statement, but I mean, I think we've talked about several ways in this
Hmm.
that we're helping do that one by one, little by little, helping change not just healthcare, but I think beyond that as well. It's incredible.
It's an incredible life shift. We're at
Yeah,
the tipping point. Do you know what the tipping point
yeah.
is?
Share, please.
The tipping point is when 0.001%
Mhm,
of any population of, in this case, nurse coaching, is a nurse coach.
mhm,
It catches on fire and cannot be stopped.
mhm, mhm,
That number, if you look at worldwide nursing, 14.8 million nurses
mhm.
worldwide, we really only need about 1,480 nurse coaches. We have over 3,000.
Yeah. And if I feel
We're
it,
here. Yeah, we're
yeah.
here. When I started 7 years ago, there were 300.
Oh, wow.
So the tipping point is here, and we're bringing it to not just nursing, but to the public.
Hmm.
And we just can't help but make a difference.
Yeah.
That's just the way it's going to be. Your friend is right. There's no way to stop it now, because there's so much enjoyment and satisfaction in
Mhm.
watching the lights go on for someone.
Hmm. I just
Yeah.
got chills and teary eyed because I just I I didn't have a nurse coach when I was going through my burnout. I had to kind of figure a lot of it out on my own, and I had a therapist, and I did eventually find a coach. But I just think how much easier it would have been if I had found that earlier. But at the same time, I think I had to struggle and I had to go through that because I was meant to be here to help getting voices out and stories told and more recognition in this space because I don't know why. I think it's just the path that I was supposed to be on, but it's so awesome to see nurse coaching just blossoming and helping and the ripple effect because I help this person and then that person helps that person and that person and that person and to
Yeah.
see that starting to evolve and to help shift our profession and healthcare at large in the world is pretty amazing.
It's incredible. That's why I opened up private practice for myself, to engage with people who want that.
Yeah.
Every nurse coach needs a nurse coach.
Yes.
Let me be your nurse coach,
Yeah.
because it's like you have to have someone in your corner.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
especially if you want to go into business, it
Hmm.
feels a little lonely out
It
there.
is.
Like,
Lots of
who are
this.
my people? Yeah, lots of that. Who are my people? Um, and other people can really reflect for you what they see in you and what you're doing and the impact that you're having, because
Hmm.
you impact them. They
Hmm.
impact you. And it's a beautiful dance.
Yeah.
One of my coaches that I went to, he goes, "You talk, I listen, we dance."
Ooh, I like that. Oh,
It's the listening beyond the words,
mhm,
beyond our intellect, to tap into those principles
mhm.
knowingly. They're always there. You can't get
Yes.
rid of them. But knowingly coming from that place, you will thrive every time.
Mm. This is such a good reminder for me, personally, and I know it's going to connect with others, but yeah, I know this, but yet I've drifted away and I've gotten in my own head a lot recently, and physically, I've been feeling it. And
Yep.
so I just love how the timing of the universe works because I personally needed to talk with you today. So I'm just super grateful for you sharing your message and I know it's going to impact a lot of people.
Yeah. I just want to be here for people.
Mhm.
I just know that we're here at the right time in
Mhm.
history to make a huge impact. And it's important that if it's calling you, to answer the call.
Mhm. Woo, I'm teary eyed today. Thank you. That was a beautiful message because I think we so often those messages start coming to us, and whatever it is, our ego or what society expectations, we try and ignore that, but
Yeah.
it's going to kind of keep knocking until you listen.
It will. It'll keep coming back. It'll keep coming back. So, what is that? I sent you 3 lifeboats. You didn't get on one. Get on the boat. Let
Yeah.
it take you where it's supposed to take you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
Because it's really painful when you ignore it. The lessons that come, and
Yes.
physical pain, emotional pain, mental pain, right?
Right.
Spiritual pain. But once you start to embrace that, as scary as it can be, um, it's not going to be any worse than what you're doing to ignore it. So I'm just trying to constantly learn those lessons of just embracing what's coming to me, and those messages are coming to me personally and to everyone for a reason, and just
Yeah.
trying to embrace that journey.
I'm so thrilled about the work people are doing.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it doesn't matter what program you come from.
Yeah.
We are in this together. This is a
Yeah.
complete whole profession. It's
Mm-hmm.
not separate pieces. We're just each, finding it in our own way.
Yeah.
The people who are meant for us.
Yes.
And, we, all of the 5 coaching programs that are in the United States that are privately owned, and
Mm-hmm.
3 that are at universities, we meet quarterly. Lynn and I started
Oh,
that.
good. I
We
love
talk to
that.
each other. We know each other.
Good.
We also teach at one of the university ones, Texas
Cool.
Wesleyan. Their FMP and DMP students take our course.
It's incredible.
So come learn about nurse coaching.
Yes.
Find out what it's about. It will change your life.
Agreed.
And it will, to me, it's like the best medicine in the world.
Yeah.
Because, people are just a phone call away.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to wait for a lot of other things.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've really found the nurse coaching community in general is very open to having a conversation, and to serving, and to giving to each other and to our community. And of course, you can hire one of us, but most of us are always willing to at least, have a conversation with you, help you figure out your next step.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's like the best of nursing I've ever imagined. The nurse time of nurses eating our young is over.
Yeah. Thank
It's
God.
gone. It's done. If people are still doing that, take responsibility
Right.
and stop it.
Right.
And pretending like you're not part of it, you can't do that.
Yeah.
If you've listened to it, if you've noticed it and walked away, you're part of it.
Yeah.
The way we get by and the way we help each other is to acknowledge
Mm-hmm.
and say, I'm here for you.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned some skills that I can help. Come on
Beautiful.
over here and join this group, because we want to thrive. We want to enjoy
Yes.
life. I want to see the beauty in life every time I walk out the door, not just, when I take the time to do it. I want to see it every time I look at something.
Mm,
And we can do that if we have the eyes to see it.
beautiful.
So I'm thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled that you made time to do this conversation today.
Thank you.
And I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm so glad we connected. And I know that our conversation today and you sharing your story and what you've been doing it's just amazing. And thank you for taking the time out to meet with me today.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We will catch you next time.